everyone. Today is November 1st. We have a brand new Bible verse for the month, and it's from Galatians 2:20. I've included, well, I'm hoping to. I haven't done it at this point, but I'm hoping that I will be able to find the song Crucified with Christ by Phillips Craig and Dean. It's a song by a contemporary Christian artist, Phillips Craig and Dean, they wrote a song, Crucified with Christ, based on this verse. Now, it is a mouthful. It's almost like two verses in one. So it will be a little bit challenging to memorize, but we need to remember that because we are new creatures and creations in Christ, the old self doesn't live anymore. We don't have to worry about the impossible because Christ lives in us, because he loved us and he gave himself for us. So my old self has been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I who live, but Christ lives in me. So I live in this earthly body. We have to live in this earthly body, but we trust in the Son of God who loved me and gave himself up for me. So even though we have to live in this earthly body, what we do want to do is trust God because he loved us and he gave himself up for us. So that's a reason enough to trust God. Our verse today, our message today, or devotional, whatever, I don't know what y'all call these, but I stopped really at 1838, and then it's repeated in Matthew's version of this as well, and we hear the words, "Keep watch and pray so that you will not give into temptation. For the spirit is willing, but the body is weak." Jesus is speaking to Simon and the sons of thunder, John and James, that he is asked to come and be with him a little bit farther away in the garden from the rest of the disciples. And he called them to come away with him for a little small area, smaller group of prayer, because they were his inner circle almost. It was never said that they were in his inner circle, but they got to see things that the other disciples didn't get to see. And God wanted, or Jesus wanted them to be a part of this with him. And it's so like us to want to invite our friends, our closest friends, into some of our most miserable times in our lives, and ask them to share and pray with us. But you know what? There is no one humanly possible, no one can humanly possibly be with us the way that God can. And our friends are going to let us down. And as close as your closest friends are, as close as my BFF is, she will let me down. We will differ in opinions. Jesus will not ever do that. And I like the example that he showed this, and this is not where I was going with the lesson, but I like the lesson that he taught us there, that it's okay to invite those people in, but you need to count on the fact that I'm going to be the only one that's really praying and left standing here with you. Because they wanted to be in that inner circle. I'm sure they felt honored that they were invited over to a different part of the garden to pray with Jesus. But they kept falling asleep. Keep watch and pray so that you will not give in to temptation, for the spirit is willing and the body is weak. The temptation there was to fall asleep, of course, because they were tired, and their spirit was very willing. They were very eager to do what God asked them to do, but their body was weak. And I'm in a place right now where my body is weak. My spirit is willing, but my body is weak. It's weak from the activity of life. It's weak from all the writing that I'm doing and that I'm pouring into the Bible study. And it's weak from just some circumstances that have arisen over the last 5 days within my family, particularly a family member. And I'm going to just kind of leave it at that for the privacy of this person. But there's a lot going on right now, and my body is weak. My spirit is willing, my body is weak. And so I like the directions that Jesus gives. He says, to keep watch. And not just keep watch, but you pray and you keep watch. And for me, I'm not quite sure what the temptation is in this particular circumstance. It might be to be overbearing. It might be to be controlling. It might need me to be obsessive about it. I'm not sure what the area of temptation is, but there's a temptation for me to be alert and to watch out for. And I'm very aware that this verse was put here today on November 1st for me. And maybe some of you also are in that place where your body is weak. Your spirit is willing to do all that God has called you to do and to do it with excellence. But your body is weak because of things that are going on around you, circumstances that are surrounding you. So I am very aware that my body's weakened state has kept me from having the intimate moments with God that I have had in the past of praying with Him each morning. I do pray each morning, but I'm not getting up and leaving my comfort zone and going and meeting with Him like I had been. I'm just not. My body is weak, but my spirit is willing. So I was convicted, and I was also encouraged that God has placed this word here for me to keep watch over everything, pray, and you be alert, because there's going to be some temptations here, and you stay heightened to the awareness of the Spirit. And that's what God is telling me today. So perhaps that's a message. There's a message in that for you. I don't know if anyone else is out there. I venture to say many in our class have a willing spirit and a weakened body. We are tired people. And it's quite humorous to me that I'm going to speak this weekend at Hearts at Home on balanced life and how out of balance my life is because I have forsaken this watchful and prayerful time that I have with God every day in the manner that I'm accustomed to. I know what keeps me going, and I've just decided that my reasoning is better than God's reasoning. And I was thinking about Paul today and his verse in Romans 7:15. I do not understand what I do. For what I want to do, I do not do. But what I hate, I do. And I am just caught in this cycle between Paul and then Jesus' warning to me. So God is really, really reaching out to me today through the message and through Paul's words as well. So, why do we do what we don't want to do or do what we hate? And why don't we do what we're supposed to do or what we really want to do? Because the spirit is willing, but the body is weak. And the best way and the best answer for a weakened body, but a willing spirit, is to keep watch and pray. And it's contrary to what the world's going to tell us to do. Oh, you're tired, your body's weak, you need to get a good supper, and you need to go to bed early. Take you a couple PM Tylenols or some melatonin and go to sleep. Now, I'm not against PM Tylenols, and I take a melatonin every night. So I'm not poo-pooing on any sleep aids at all. Please hear me on that. But that is not always the answer. Our answers are right here, and sometimes we don't do what we want to do, and we do what we hate because we listen to the reasoning that the world tells us, and that our human mind tries to justify and tell us reasons why we shouldn't do what we want to do. Well, y'all have a wonderful day. I know that's a lot to think about, and I look forward to hearing your comments and to see too if is there anyone else out there that is also struggling with a willing spirit and a weak body. And what are you doing about it? Did this message speak to you? Or is there another way that you're meeting that and you're working with the Lord through that? I will see you, God willing, tomorrow on Wednesday, November 2nd, face to face.